Thank you for attending my talk. I'm Hanchu Wang, a student from the Department of Chemical Engineering and Material Science at the University of Minnesota. Today, I will talk about our research in nitrogen management in the design of sustainable ammonia-based food energy water systems. This talk is organized in three parts: motivation of the research, the steps leading to the mathematical formulation, and then the case study resource. We know that ammonia is widely used in many areas, and currently its primary application is used as fertilizer to boost the crop yield. Also, ammonia can be used as energy carrier, so there is a worldwide growing interest in ammonia. However, in traditional ammonia production, a large volume of carbon dioxide is emitted. So researchers are interested in renewable-based ammonia production, which only takes in the feed of water, air, and renewable energy. Since ammonia utilization and its production are connected as demand and supply, we would like to consider both of them. In process system engineering perspective, the previous work done by Matt Pallas from Daltidis Group has addressed the interaction of ammonia production, renewable energy, and the agriculture system in the standpoint of sustainability of feedstock without account for soil nitrogen interaction. In our work, in addition to this interaction of renewable ammonia production and agriculture system, we will focus on the nitrogen management for agricultural sustainability. Why do we care about nitrogen management? This is because nitrogen pollution is a serious issue that the agriculture system is facing. For all the ammonia and fertilizer applied to the cropland, besides this uptaken by plant, more than 50% of nitrogen is lost undesirably. The three main pathways of N-loss are ammonia volatilization, denitrification, and nitrate leaching. In a drained land, the nitrate leaves the system through drainage pipes as nutrient-containing agricultural wastewater. Then whatever amount exceeds the drainage capacity will be part of groundwater leaching. When a large amount of precipitation happens, the water can also leave the system as surface runoff. This nitrogen loss not only reduces the efficiency of the fertilizer, but also pollutes the environment. In Minnesota, on an average year, the drainage, leaching, runoff contributes to over 80% of non-point nitrogen pollution. To address the nitrogen issue, we incorporate the two most relevant nitrogen management techniques into our system. The first one is to optimize the fertilizer application. Currently, to ensure the crop yield, farmers usually over-apply fertilizer to their cropland to make sure, even with the undesired nitrogen loss, the cropland still have enough nitrogen for crops to grow. However, the higher nitrogen concentration in the soil, when leaching happens, more nitrogen will leave the system. So applying fertilizer on a needed base can not only ensure the soils always satisfy the condition for crop growing, but also keeps its nitrogen concentration closer to its lowest possible volume. This requires the system to be able to apply fertilizer at any time. However, to apply ammonia, a tractor is required to inject ammonia into the soil, which limits its applicability during the crop growing season. So we need to consider another fertilizer form that can be easily applied during the crop growing season. And here, we consider urea, which is allowed for surface application. The second technique is effluent management. Since drainage water has a major contribution to the nitrogen loss, collecting drainage water and apply water treatments to it can reduce the nitrogen in the disposed water. Here, two techniques are considered. One is reverse osmosis, since it produces the pure water which can be reused. And the other is wood-chip bioreactor, which is easy in maintenance. Then we embed the nitrogen management into our system. Here, we first focus on the most important part. In the agriculture system, the tilted cropland is modeled as process. It accepts ammonia and urea as fertilizer, and the pure water and the precipitation as irrigation water. Water leaves the system through tile drainage, groundwater leaching, surface runoff, extraction, be it evaporation or transpiration. We assume that distilled water can be collected to apply the water treatment. The reverse osmosis process here has two outlet streams, one of which contains clean water that can be used as irrigation or processed water. In contrast, the other stream contains high nutrient water, which can be released to the environment as liquid pollution, applied back to the cropland as supplemental nitrogen, or sent to the bioreactors for denitrification. Distilled water can also go to the bioreactors. The bacteria in the reactors can break down the nitrate in the passed by water through denitrification or other biochemical process. Denitrified water leaves the bioreactor, can be sent to the second bioreactor for further denitrification, or sent to the reverse osmosis for purification. Here, all the nitrogen contains water which does not go to the water treatment process or cropland. It's deposited into the environment and considered deposited wastewater and referred to as nitrogen loss. Noted here, the nitrogen level in the soil is not a fixed value. It's a fraction of the soil N level to the soil water level. Due to the high solubility of the nitrate in the water, extraction, runoff, tail drainage, and leaching water contains the nitrate. And the N level of these streams depends on the N level in the soil. Therefore, the N level of these streams actually brings the nonlinear constraints to our system. Since we use a superstructure-based design approach for our problem, let's look at the superstructure of the system. The bottom part shaded in yellow represents the agriculture system, which we described in the previous slide. In addition to the agriculture system, the top shaded in blue part represents for the chemical production system. In the system, hydrogen is obtained from the electrolysis of water. The cleaned processed water is obtained from the treating soil water using reverse osmosis. Hydrogen reacts with nitrogen collected from the pressure swing absorption to form the ammonia. Then ammonia can be further reacted with carbon dioxide to form the urea. Here, ammonia can also be used as energy sources for tractor engine, grain drying, and power generation. The power supply in the system can also be generated by wind turbine, photovoltaic array, biomass, and ammonia-based generator, and the hydrogen fuel cell. The power collected is used to meet local power demand and power all the energy required processes. We also consider directly stored electricity in their battery set. So for the defined superstructure, we construct a mathematical formulation for it. Since we utilize the renewable resource which associated with intermittency, we need to solve the design and the scheduling simultaneously. However, the hourly resolution of a yearly schedule leads to a large-scale mixed integer problem. Also, with the nonlinearity constraint, with the nonlinear constraints in the agriculture system, we have a large-scale mixed integer nonlinear program, which is computationally intractable. Therefore, we apply the multiscale time representation to reduce the problem size. However, the nonlinearity in the agriculture system cannot be easily addressed by Masonic realization or multiparametric disaggregation approach. This is the biggest challenging for solving the system. However, due to the unique structure of our system, we are able to use a piecewise linear surrogate model to linearize the constraints in the agriculture system. And the resulting problem is a mixed integer linear program with a size that can be solved by a commercial MILP solver. In our work, we conduct a case study based on a small-scale ammonia plant and the farm located in Morris, Minnesota. By applying the epsilon constraint method, we obtained this Pareto form curve between the net percent cost and the total N loss. Here, we see that the net percent cost reduces as total N loss increases, which is expected as they are conflicting objectives. The important things to notice here, a significant reduction in total N loss only requires a small increase in net percent cost. Comparing the trade-off point and the minimizing net percent cost case, we see a 57% reduction in N loss with only an 8% increase in net percent cost. We selected 3 Pareto optimal solutions, minimizing N loss, trade-off point, and minimizing net percent cost for comparison, and we will analyze them in the later parts in more detail. So by looking at this process unit selection, first, we notice here, minimizing N loss and the trade-off case make the same process unit selection. In all 3 cases, the optimal design chooses not to install the battery set, and no biomass is utilized. The key difference in design is that minimizing the N loss and the trade-off case installed a urea production process, while minimizing net percent cost case does not. If we look at the cost, we see that for both capital and operating costs, the cost for ammonia production and the energy generation part is nearly identical for all 3 cases. And the major difference are from the water treatment related process, which is mainly for the agriculture system. Since the ammonia system related process unit and the power generation unit are expensive units, but the decision made on the ammonia and the power generation units are similar in all 3 cases. And then the significant difference is only in the water treatment units. It explains why 8% increase in net percent cost can reduce 57% of nitrogen loss. Look at the fertilizer application schedule. To minimize the net percent cost, the fertilizer is only applied during the crop preparation season. So in minimizing net percent cost case, no urea process is required, and the number of fertilizer applications is low. This matches with the real-life fertilizer application. Farmers usually apply bulk amount of ammonia in the crop preparation season and allow the nitrogen amount to decline in the rest of the time. However, this approach leaves in a high nitrogen rate in the soil. So when a leaching happens, more nitrogen goes to the environment. Then we see the result for minimizing N loss case. Here, the fertilizer is applied with a frequent schedule, but each application has a relatively low amount of fertilizer. Looking at the soil nitrogen level when minimizing the N loss, the solution tells us the need-based fertilizer application keeps the soil nitrogen rate at a relatively low level, but does make sure it satisfies the needs for crop growing. This indicates the adjusting fertilizer application can efficiently reduce the nitrogen loss. However, this minimizing N loss case associated with a high net percent cost. To get a significant reduce the N loss with a small increase in net percent cost, the schedule for the trade-off point, it recommends 1 ammonia fertilizer application in the preparation season with a small amount of fertilizer frequently applied during the crop growing season. This schedule will be the one recommended for practicing since it balances between the cost and the environmental impacts. To conclude this talk, in this work, we develop a mathematical formulation to optimize design and operational decision for an integrated system of renewable-based ammonia production and agriculture system with nitrogen management. We solve the model with applying the multiscale time representation and the piecewise linear surrogate model. From the result, we observe that a significant reduction in total N loss only requires a small increase in the net percent cost through nitrogen management. So last but not least, I would like to acknowledge my advisors and the group members, as well as the funding sources. My talk ends here, and I'm happy to answer any questions.